Modern History, Class 12th, Chapter 2, European Penetration and the British Conquest of India. The new phase of Europe's Eastern trade. India's trade relation with Europe go back to the ancient days of Greek. During the Middle Ages, trade between Europe and India and Southeast Asia was carried on along several routes. The Asian part of the trade was carried on mostly by the Arab merchants and sailors, while the Mediterranean and European part was the virtual monopoly of the Italians. Goods from Asia to Europe passed through many states and many hands, yet the trade remained highly profitable. The old trading routes between the East and the West came under Turkish control after the Ottoman conquest of Asia Minor and the capture of Constantinople in 1453. Moreover, the merchants of Venice and Genoa monopolized the trade between Europe and Asia and refused to let the new nation states of Western Europe, particularly Spain and Portugal, have any share in the trade, though through these old routes. The Western European states and merchants therefore began to search for new and safer sea routes to India and the Spice Islands in Indonesia, then known as the East Indies. They wanted to break the Arab and Venetian trade monopolies, to bypass Turkish hostility, and to open direct trade relations with the East. They were well equipped to do so, as great advances in shipbuilding and the structure of navigation had taken place during the 15th century. Moreover, the Renaissance had generated a great spirit of adventure among the people of Western Europe. The first steps were taken by Portugal and Spain, whose seamen, sponsored and controlled by the governments, began great era of geographical discoveries. In 1492, Columbus of Spain set out to reach India and discovered America instead. In 1498, Vasco da Gama of Portugal discovered the new and all sea route from Europe to India. He sailed around Africa via Cape of Good Hope and reached Calicut. He returned with a cargo which he sold for 60 times the cost of his voyage. These and other navigational discoveries opened a new chapter in the history of the world. The 17th and 18th centuries were to witness enormous increase in the world trade. The vast new continent of America was opened to Europe, and relations between Europe and Asia were completely transformed. Another major source of early capital accumulation or enrichment for European countries was their penetration of Africa in the middle of 15th century. In the beginning, gold and ivory of Africa had attracted the foreigner. Very soon, however, trade with Africa centered around the slave trade. In 16th century, this trade was monopoly of Spain and Portugal. Later, it was dominated by Dutch, French and British merchants. Year after year, particularly after 1650, thousands of Africans were sold as slaves in the West Indies and North and South America. The slave ships carried manufactured goods from Europe to Africa, exchanged them on the coast in Africa for Negroes, took these slaves across the Atlantic and exchanged them for colonial produce of plantations or mines, and finally brought back and sold this produce in Europe. It was on the immense profit that of this triangular trade that the commercial supremacy of England and France was to be based. A great deal of West European and North American prosperity was based on slave trades and the plantations worked by slave laborers. Moreover, profits of slave trade and slave worked plantations provided some of the capital which financed the industrial revolution in 18th and 19th centuries. A similar role was played by the wealth extracted from India. In the 16th century, European merchants and soldiers began to long process the first penetration and then subjecting Asian lands to their control. Portugal had a monopoly of highly profitable eastern trade for nearly a century. In India, she established her trading settlements at Cochin, Goa, Diu and Daman. From the beginning, the Portuguese combined the use of force with trade. In this, they were held by the superiority of the armed ships, which enabled them to dominate the seas. A handful of Portuguese soldiers and sailors could maintain their position on the seas against the much more powerful land powers of India and Asia. By threatening the Mughal shipping, they also succeeded in securing many trading concessions from the Mughal emperors. Under the viceroyalty of Alfonso the Albuquerque of who captured Goa in 1510, the Portuguese established their domination over the entire Asian coast of Hormuz in Persian Gulf to Malacca in Malaya and Spice Islands in Indonesia. They seized Indian territories on the coast and waged constant war to expand their trade and dominions and safeguard their trade monopoly from the European rivals. Nor did they shy away from piracy and plunder. They also indulged in inhumane cruelties and lawlessness. In spite of their barbaric behavior, the possessions in India survived for a century because they enjoyed control over the high seas. Their soldiers and administrators maintained strict discipline and they did not have to face the might of Mughal Empire as South India was outside Mughal influence. In the later half of 16th century, England and Holland and later France, all growing commercial and naval powers, waged a fierce struggle against the Spanish and Portuguese monopoly of world trade. In this struggle, the latter had to go under. The English and the Dutch merchants were now able to use the Cape of Good Hope route to India and so to join the race for empire in the east. In the end, the Dutch gained control over Indonesia and the British over India, Sri Lanka, and Malaya. In 1602, the Dutch East India Company was formed and the Dutch States General, the Dutch Parliament, gave it a charter empowering it to make war, conclude treaties, and acquire territories and build fortresses. The main interest of the Dutch lay not in India but the Indonesian islands of Java, Sumatra, and the Spice Islands where the spices were produced. They soon turned out the Portuguese from the Malay Straits and the Indonesian islands and in 1623 defeated English attempts to establish themselves there. They also established trading depot at Surat, Bharuch, Cambi and Ahmedabad in Gujarat in West India, Cochin in Kerala, Nagapattinam in Madras, Masulipatnam in Andhra, Chinsura in Bengal, Patna in Bihar, and Agra in Uttar Pradesh. In 1658, they conquered the Sri Lanka from the Portuguese. The English merchants too looked greedily on the Asian trade. The success of Portuguese, the rich cargoes of spices, calicoes, silk, gold, pearls, drugs, porcelain, and ebony they carried, and the high profits they made inflamed the imagination of the merchants of England and made them impatient to participate in such profitable commerce. An English association or company to trade with the East was formed in 1599 under the auspicious group of merchants known as the Merchant Adventurers. The company, popularly known as the East India Company, was granted a royal charter and the exclusive privilege to trade in the East by Queen Elizabeth on 31st December 1600. In 1608, it decided to open a factory in the name given at the time for trading to a trading depot at Surat on the west coast of India and sent Captain Hawkins to Jahangir's court to obtain royal favors. Consequently, the English company was given permission by the Royal Firman to open factories at several places on the west coast. The English were not satisfied with this concession. In 1615, their ambassador Sir Thomas Roe reached the Mughal court. Roe succeeded in getting an imperial firman to trade and establish factories in all parts of the Mughal Empire. In 1662, the Portuguese gave the island of Bombay to King Charles II of England as dowry for marrying a Portuguese princess. Eventually, the Portuguese lost all their possessions in India except Goa, Diu, and Daman. The English company fell out with the Dutch company over division of spice trade of the Indonesian islands. The intermittent war in India between the two powers, which had begun in 1654, ended in 1667 when the English gave up all claims to Indonesia while the Dutch agreed to leave alone the English settlements in India.